So this is our 1962 Rat Rod Morris, and we were driving home the other day and hit a massive pothole, or as we call in the UK, a trench, which is happening more locally on local roads, and heard a bit of a crack and a clang. Got home safely, everything was all right. Did a bit of investigation and realised the rear damper telescopic suspension bracket here had snapped. We must have bottomed out in the trench and the suspension banged up. Luckily, everything else is all right, and it just cracked this bar. So we've ordered a new bar, and we're going to refit everything, and there we go. Morris Minor Telescopic Rear Damper Conversion Kit. So what do you get in your damper conversion kit? For a change, you get decent instructions. Really useful, read them through well, and you should be able to fit this with these instructions. What do you get in the kit? You get this bar, which goes under the floor of your boot, and these two dampers bolt to it. And then you get these two shoes, these two brackets, and all the nuts and bolts necessary to fit your kit. Now we've got the oil damper conversion, which is the cheapest and most basic because it's matching exactly what we're going to take off the car. And you can get three other types. You can get gas filled dampers, which are like this and fit exactly the same kit as this one. And you can get SPACs, gas adjustable, and SPACs coilover adjustable, which are much more expensive but probably better. And what's the difference between oil dampers and gas dampers and the other two adjustable ones? Well, the oil damper is quite a smooth road style normal driving, replaces your lever arm damper and damping. As you can see, I'm just about moving it up and down. But when these get older and you drive a lot, the oil in here thins and fades, so you get less damping quality. With gas, you don't get the fade, so there's much more improved ride at the rear. And obviously with these SPACs, both SPACs kits, there's a level of adjustments. You can adjust the ride height and the travel on your damper. And I think that's all about it is until we fit it on the car. So we thought before we take it out of the car, actually, let's mock it up, see how it all goes together before we take it out, because it's easier then to fit it in situ. So here's the bar, which bolts under the underside of your floor in your boot, just in front of the petrol tank. And the end of these brackets here fit in line with the bump stops on the car, and you may have to trim these bars down because they can be slightly longer than what you need. And then if you really want to, and it's a better job, to weld these two pieces to the box sections at the rear of your car. And you need to set this bar with a cutout facing the front of the car, because this is where the diff travels up and down when you're driving. And then you have the two oil dampers hanging off the second hole there on the bar, down to the U-bolt on the bracket here, and then connected to these shoes. Now the shoes are fitted with this cutout facing forward, and that angled like that. The bottom of this is then bolted to the two U-bolts, which are on your rear leaf springs. And I think there we go. And then we'll take this out to the car, bolt it all up, and see how it looks. We have fitted the rear telescopic dampers to the car, so we thought we'd start in the boot. So obviously you've got to strip the boot out until it's clear down to the petrol tank, and then you've got these four holes that are drilled through in line with the bracket, in line with the bump stops on the underside of the car, and you've got these huge washers, nuts and bolts go through the floor of the car, pick up the bracket underneath, and then pick up the dampers. So let's have a look underneath. So here we are under the car. Here's the rear axle on the bottom of the leaf spring. As you can see, the shoe and the way it's profiled there to pick up this bracket and the bottom of the telescopic oil damper. And then we'll follow the damper up, and you can see where the bracket is bolted. Can you see that under there?
Yep.
Where it's bolted under the side of the car, and you can also see we've just been painting and spraying. We've got to finish off by painting this bracket. It'd probably be easier to paint it before you put it on, but we were very keen to get this car back on the road, so it's going to be painted afterwards. And it's bolted all through. We try to get the profile of this oil damper very vertical, and we've gone on the longest stroke of the damper, so it's the most extended, so we've got more travel when we're going on these terrible bumpy roads we're suffering from. The other thing to note is when you're doing this job, you've got to be careful jacking this car up, because you're jacking on the body and not on the diff. As you can see, I've got an axle stand under the body of the car. I've also got another Morris jack in the jacking point halfway down, and an axle stand on the other side of the car, and both wheels are under the car because you need this rear axle to float down onto the spring when you refit these shoes, so it's all got to be loose. So why would you put telescopic damper conversion on your Morris? So we've got two Morrises, they're exactly the same, they've got 5 leaf springs, polybush conversion, and they're brand new, so it's a good way of showing you what the difference between one and the other is. So this one has got the telescopic rear damper conversion kit on it, and our old South African white Morris over there has got the original lever on damper conversion kit on it. So let's go over to the white South African Morris and I'll show you the difference between one and the other. So here we are at the white South African Morris, which has got the original completely standard suspension on it. And what you'll see is when I bounce it, there's a little bit of lateral movement. It's nice and smooth and comfortable, so a comfort ride. So let's go over to the rat rod and see what the difference is. So here we are at the rat rod, and let's have a look at the difference. That's my full weight on that, and it's much stiffer, and there's little or no lateral movement. So what that means is when you're driving, that your back end is stiffer and your road handling is much better. So that is a consideration if you want to convert your Morris, if you want to improve your handling at the rear end. And there we go.